Hey, we're coming at you live with Middle Marvels. It's the Unlock the Middle team. I'm Chris Starcheski, the principal at Dudley Middle School. And over to my side over here is Mr. Dean Packard, the principal at Charlton Middle School. How are you today, Dean?
Hey, Chris, I'm fantastic. And I'll tell you what, after a long day of sitting and planning administratively, I couldn't wait to get here to recognize a rock star teacher. This is the Middle Marvels, and this is what we do, and it's so exciting.
You know what? Unlock the Middle, we try to showcase skills and talents of middle-level educators to help others be better at their craft. And today we've got somebody to share with all of you out there in Unlock the Middle land. Dean, why don't you get a hold of Brooke, and I will pop on out of here.
That sounds great, Chris. Thank you very much. I'll catch up with you in a moment. Let's bring in Brooke Packard. Brooke, it's great to see you. I hope your second day of school or your professional development learning opportunity went really well.
Oh, it did. 2 days in and a whole year to go. Thanks for having me back again.
Well, that's gonna be the norm. Hey, Brooke, you've done a great job rolling out the Middle Marvels for us. And today we have a rock star educator known since he's been a little boy playing basketball. And he's really, hi Maya, and he's really morphed into being an amazing educator, but he's a high school basketball coach, comes from a basketball, but his passion really is embedded in teaching. And he just got hired at Knox Trail Middle School as a math teacher in the same district in which he's the high school boys varsity basketball coach. So I want to bring Pat in. I'm going to step out, and why don't you take over doing what you need to do, what you do best.
Okay, awesome. Hello, Pat. Welcome.
Hey, Brooke.
Oh, I am so sorry. I have my little friend here who has been home alone the past 2 days since I've been home for 6 months. So, Pat, give me 2 seconds to get up and stop barking. 2 seconds.
I'm going to come back in for a second, Pat, only because I have the right to do that as an administrative program. And I know that Maya loves her mama. And mama's back at school right now. So Brooke is going to give her a bone. And this is the beauty of being live, everybody out there right now. So that Brooke's going to get some great questions for you about your teaching journey, and I'm super excited to bring her back in. It sounds like Maya is under control. So Brooke, welcome back.
All right. I really hope she's good for a little bit. I'm sorry about that, Pat. Pat, I'm super excited to talk with you today. For everybody listening, Pat is another one of my educational connections. I've known Pat for a while, and I'm excited to hear all about his journey today. So, Pat, can you start off by telling us a little bit about where you started and where you are now?
Yeah, so I basically knew as a young child I wanted to be a teacher. Teaching runs in my family. I know your dad mentioned we're a basketball family, but you know, my mother's father and my father's mother were both teachers in the Worcester Public Schools for 40 years. So I really looked up to them, and I saw their life, and you know, I saw how they connected with children and how amazing that was. And I always thought that was something I would be interested in doing. Your dad mentioned the basketball. And I think when I really knew it could be a reality was working with kids in high school at basketball camp. As simple as that. So I graduated from David Prouty. I went to Wheelock College, where I graduated with a degree in math and education in 2012. I did a long-term substitute job in Southbridge, and the last 6 years until literally today, I've been working at Webster Middle School teaching math there.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And that's awesome that you get to also coach and be a teacher too. You know, you get to do both things, and now it's at the same school with the same kids. So that's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah, it's really been a dream of mine. And I mean, you know, another thing is I've had so many great teachers that are coaches that I've looked up to, and I've kind of seen like my life could be somewhat like that. And it's just a really special feeling to be able to coach and teach at the same time.
Yeah. Now you get to give back to all these kids out there as well. And then they'll be looking up to you, and then they'll become math teachers. Funny how it all rolls out.
Absolutely.
So if you could talk a little bit about some challenges that you've had to overcome these past few years.
I think the biggest challenge that I have as a teacher is, you know, there's a lot. When I say there's a lot, there are a lot of different great examples of great teaching out there. And I think sometimes it can be overwhelming with how many things you want to bring into your classroom to have, the best lesson or the best classroom environment. I think it's really important that we keep things simple while, as teachers, we are lifelong learners, obviously, and we're doing our best to make it the best we can for kids every single day. But like I said, I think that's the biggest challenge I face. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. I think personally, it starts out with maybe taking one great strategy that you learn or something simple that you learn and implementing into your classroom, and basically once at a time. I think you can't rewrite the whole thing all at once.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So do you try to incorporate any real life lessons into your math class or basketball?
Well, I have two things I have for that. So number one, the best we can, right? There's a lot of things, especially in middle school math, that we can relate to everyday life. Perfect example, in 7th grade, one of the big units is learning about unit rate. A couple of times I've done a project on finding, looking at different items in a store and giving the students a real catalog of items you can buy at a store and finding out what's the best item you can find at the best rate. Mm-hmm. So constantly trying to find ways to connect things that students are going to need as they grow up. But I think the biggest thing, and my wife is a teacher as well, and we talked about this the other day as I was preparing for the school year, is that the content is always going to be there, and it's really important. We're striving to make the content the best we can for the students. But my biggest goal of being a teacher is that those students have the best opportunity to walk out of the classroom a better person than the way they walked in. And I think that's the biggest thing that I love about teaching and coaching, is that there's so many small things that happen day to day that are teachable moments that we can really help these students better themselves for the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. So not only are you teaching them math, but you're also teaching them how to be a good human being and how, to be a part of the civilization after they leave your four walls. So that's huge. That's great. And speaking about, you just said that you have them look at prices of things. So I teach English, and my dog is back. I teach English, and I think this year I'm going to have them write. Oh my gosh.
Don't worry.
I'm going to come right back and help you out for a second here. Patrick, these real life experiences, I love the fact that you can pivot on the dime and make math really real for your students, and find those real world practical moments where you can really explain to them why math is important. Because I do know math is a very difficult concept for some people to understand.
Yeah, and it's funny, going back to the last question Brooke asked, what are some of the challenges? Middle school is such a hard time for students. I find another big challenge, and it kind of connects to making math fun, is that a lot of students come into math with a negative or a stressful mindset, and it all comes together because we're trying to make math as comfortable and as fun as possible.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Pat, now that my dog is locked in the bedroom and she's not coming out, I just want to go back to that point that you made, that you were trying to show them real life examples in the classroom and how much different things cost. So I teach English, and I think I'm going to try to incorporate something very similar to that. I want them to write a research project on their ideal profession and how much they're going to make, and how much it's going to take to cost to own a house or own a car, and even going grocery shopping, because it's very easy to be throwing things in the cart when you're not the one paying for it. So math definitely is a real life thing, and that's great that you incorporate that as well. So what do you think excites you the most about being a teacher, being an educator?
So this is easy. It's growth. And when I go back to, when I talk about growth, it's more about the real life aspect. It's so hard at the end of the year to say goodbye to students, but I love see students growing as the years go on. Teaching in Webster, seeing students at Bartlett right across the parking lot and being able to connect with them later on and see how much they grow up. Those conversations it's so special. And so I guess the overall thing that excites me the most is the relationship building involved with teaching. I think that's so much of the battle building strong relationships. And that's what I love to do in the classroom.
Mhm.
So I think that's what excites me most is the relationship continuing on after they leave my classroom.
Yeah, awesome. You have to have a love for these kids if you're a teacher every single day. So it is all about the kids. So other than teaching and other than basketball, what would you consider your passions and your interests?
So that's easy. My family, my beautiful wife, Melinda. She is my world. Her along with my son. He's 15 months old, Patrick Robert O'Connor. It's been an amazing couple of years getting married and having a child. Being a father is, I'm sure your dad can speak to it and all the other dads out there. It's like the most amazing thing in the world. Chasing him around. It's just, I can't even begin to admit, I'm sure all the parents out there know, it's just the day-to-day is amazing.
Do you think that now, since you're a father, that's kind of changed your perspective in the classroom a little bit too?
It definitely has. It's funny. You think about, hi, buddy. Is this the right time? Yeah, he's walking to me. What's up? Oh
my goodness. Hello.
Can you say hi? You're waving to mama, but you got to wave to the camera.
Hi, big boy. A future basketball star playing for his dad.
We hope so.
Yes.
But it's funny you asked about, has it changed my perspective? It definitely, it definitely motivates you to become a better teacher. I think just personally, you always ask that question, like, administrators have mentioned, if I was a parent, would I want to walk into your classroom with my child there? Mm-hmm. Would I be happy with what I see? Yeah. And I think you think of that on the moment, like, would my family be happy with the lesson I'm teaching? Would they be proud of what I'm doing right now in the classroom? So he's going to wave the whole time.
Oh, that's okay. I'll keep waving back to him. No, that's so powerful and that's so true. And it just gives you a different perspective as well, because you want everyone obviously to treat your little boy with the utmost kindness and the utmost respect. So, you have a class full of kids and I'm sure you take them in just like they were your own, like this little guy. So that's awesome. He's definitely the star of the show.
Oh, yeah.
So do you have any advice to offer to educators who are just starting out?
I think it sort of circles back to one of the earlier questions, like, one of the challenges with a little at a time. I think I remember being very overwhelmed. I had so many great colleagues to rely on that helped me with so much in my first couple of years teaching. And I think the patience and not trying to do everything at once and trying to improve lessons and culture a step at a time daily rather than trying to do it all at once. I think that's the biggest thing I can think of. And honestly, I just mentioned it in the conversation, relying on colleagues. I think so much of being a teacher is being a great teammate, and we have to bounce ideas off each other. Even if we maybe don't teach the same subject, you can get a better idea of how to connect with students from a different perspective.
Yeah. It all goes back to that teamwork, and that's how basketball is also built into everything. You have to work well with others and be able to think on the fly, just like if you were on the court. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for being here today and to share part of your journey and share your beautiful son. And, I wish you the best of luck at this new adventure, and I'm sure you're going to rock it.
Thanks, Brooke. I really appreciate it. It was great talking to you.
You as well.